Alright, people, welcome back to the channel. Charlie Talks Football on YouTube. We're going to discuss the Scotland game. We're going to discuss Ecuador, Germany, which has just happened as the time of recording, as the time of posting. This is obviously the next day from the game. We'll just talk about the Scotland game first. Pretty poor, pretty poor. I just thought once again we just haven't shown up. We'll obviously discuss Steve Clarke at some other point today as well, but once again we're just really poor. Nothing to it. To be fair, in that second half I thought we improved, but the first half boring, passive. The goals we give away. Oh my God, McKenna. He does just not cover himself in glory. I said he should have started midweek. I still think he probably is our second best defender. He's better than Hanley, and I stand by that opinion. He's still better than Hanley. He just is all round better defender than Grant Hanley is, and the whole nation, or a majority of the nation, agrees. So I still would stick by that. It doesn't cover himself in glory at all. Either does Jack Hendry for the second goal. Obviously, it does get disallowed. And then Nathan Patterson gets caught at the back post, lacking, just not covering his man. Vinicius gets an easy header. But I mean, two of the easiest goals he'll probably ever score in his career, and just not the most ideal start to the game. Second half, I thought we actually were slightly better. McTominay probably had the chance of the game for us, and it just goes hits it right the goal. Another player I just thought was poor. Again, we've just not seen the McTominay that we know and love. We've just not seen that at all. I'm not just going to sit here and blame it all on McTominay because it has been part and well, some parts have been McTominay and then other parts have been other players. Like it's just been a little bit of balance. But we need our best players. We need the McTominays of the world. We need the John McGinns of the world to turn up in these tournaments. You know, I've said this before, but I think the only player that's actually turned up this tournament who's a supposed big player is Lewis Ferguson. I stand by it. In all three games, I thought he's turned up. He's been our most important player. He's been the only player that's massively kind of changed games. He's the only player that's like I get it. They've all ran and stuff like that, but I think Lewis Ferguson's such a great player. He's shown that once again yesterday. I just thought once again just incredibly good. But like it's just we just did not cover ourselves in glory at all. Very poor, very passive at times. Um, I've literally just finished watching the Germany game. They were so poor as well. And I was just gutted for the Tartan Army, gutted for Scotland fans that have went out there because they've just been served up total. I get it, you can understand what I'm going to say next, but they've just been served up very poor football, and we've seen it again. Steve Clarke, in my opinion, ideally he goes, ideally he gets sacked, ideally he resigns, but that's not going to happen. That won't happen. Then the SFA will not sack him. They've just given him a new 4-year deal. In what world do the SFA think after this disastrous tournament, once again, is he going to be getting sacked? That it'll cost SFA way too much money to sack him. And Steve Clarke will be laughing at his way to the bank because he's not going to resign, is he? This is probably his last job in football or in managerial football. Has been the Scotland job, and he'll probably see out his next 4 years. So we've got to serve that 4 more years of this. We're if we do get to the next World Cup, which I'm not even sure we will at this point, we're gonna have Steve Clarke football again, and it's absolutely gutting to see because once again, the man has served up absolutely total rubbish for years. 2020 Euros, poor. Honestly, so poor. Like scored one goal, got it against Croatia, they still pumped us. England, we got a point. We celebrated it like a win. Still poor. Czechia, poor. 2024, Germany, we got pumped 5-1. And what world? I mean, it's just absolutely shocking. I watched it on like 3 hours of sleep in an airport in Budapest. So, and we got pumped 5-1. And I watched it on a pub telly when I was outside the pub. So that just serves up my experience of watching that game. Who was after that? It was in Switzerland. I mean, we were okay. We got a point, I suppose. And in Hungary, one of the worst international football games I've ever watched in my lifetime of watching Scotland games by far, and to end it like that was terrible. And then we've had been served up absolutely total rubbish in this tournament again. We got past Haiti by the skin of our teeth. Didn't deserve to beat Haiti. Haiti probably did enough for a draw, but look, we get away with it. Morocco poor for 85 minutes of that game, very poor. Brazil, we were very poor for 90 minutes of that game. We didn't. We genuinely do not deserve to go through in this tournament at all. We don't deserve it at all. And I'll be very on it. Like obviously, I'm being really negative here, but I don't know what else to say that it could be positive. Ideally, there is in some way possible that we get through. Like we are genuinely needing a miracle now to get through. I genuinely do not think there's a chance we get through it. Like I'm obviously still believing and stuff like that. Deep down, I'm still believing, but like my heart's believing, my brain is saying, "We're Charlie, stop trying to get yourself up for these games because it's not happening." That's what my brain is telling me. My heart on the inside in my body is telling me that we can still do it. So, like, I think we need something in I think we need Saudi Arabia to beat Cap Verde. I believe we need that. I think we need Iran to lose, or I think Iran to win actually in another game. I don't know if it's against Iraq or something. I don't know, but I'm just gutted. I'm just gutted. Like I get it. It's not all on Steve Clarke. I've said this before. It isn't all on him. The players for another tournament in a row haven't turned up, but he takes a massive portion of the blame. He absolutely does. It's just another international tournament that's been wasted. And you know what? This is probably the best group of players that we're going to have for another couple of years. I get it. The future looks okay, pretty bright. To be fair, you've got players like Finlay Curtis, you've got players like Tyler Fletcher as well. You've got other players as well. Lewis Ferguson's still a young boy, like not a young boy, but still a young player. He's still got another couple of tournaments in him as well. We've still got a pretty young squad. But that was probably John McGinn's last World Cup at his peak, and he didn't really show his peak. That was probably McTominay's last World Cup at his peak. That was probably Lawrence Shankland's World Cup at his peak. That was probably Andy Robertson's last World Cup. So these are all the things you kind of have to take into consideration. Like, I get it. It was only yesterday, and I'm still just absolutely gutted with emotions over it. It was just one. It wasn't a good game. I think I've probably watched about 4 good games in my lifetime in Steve Clarke football, and one of them was Denmark. Which, yes, it was a good game, but we actually made it so much harder for ourselves than we actually needed to that day. Look, I'm actually not going to blame him for the starting 11 yesterday. I actually wouldn't have changed much about that starting 11. I really wouldn't. That was actually the starting 11 I was going to go with. I would have had London Dykes up front, but he went with Lawrence Shankland. I've got no issues with that either way. But except that he went with everything I thought he would go with, except the London Dykes when I thought he'd play Kenny McLean because I thought he was impressive when he came on against Morocco. But yeah, we just couldn't get enough in the ball. Once again, we didn't cover ourselves. The defenders definitely didn't cover themselves with much glory, and we didn't create enough as we haven't in any international tournaments. That's been the lack. That's been our big problem in these international tournaments. We haven't been able to create anything, little to none chances in any kind of international tournament, which has massively let the fans down, and it's kind of let Steve Clarke down as well. But I get it, it's Steve Clarke's football, so it's his fault. And which, actually, I don't know why I said that because it's all his fault. Whether we are creating chances, because as much as I've said the players have to take a portion of the blame, the Steve Clarke's actually telling the players what to do. He's telling the players to do certain things on the park, so he takes majority 90% of the blame. As I said, the players obviously they are still kicking the football, so they kind of have to take the blame as well, like in anything in football. But once again, Steve Clarke's telling players to go down that route, or I don't know what exactly it'll be, the instructions. I'm not inside the Scotland camp or anything like that, so I don't know anything like that. But he's telling the players where to be, where to sit, when to go forward, when to not. If you get what I mean with that. And I just thought, and also another thing that I didn't like by Steve Clarke the other day was these interviews. Absolutely shocking, by the way. Honestly, apologies. I don't know who the interviewer was in the post-match interview right after the game, and it just completely like didn't answer a question at all, and then just stormed off. It's childish. It's absolutely childish for a grown man to do that to someone who's got a job to do. Bear this in mind. Steve Clarke's got a job to do, but also the journalists have a job to do. Presenters have a job to do. They're there for a reason as well. Steve Clarke, treat them with a wee bit respect, mate. Like sorry, I'm not really big with Kenan presenters' name unless they're massive, but I can't remember the woman's name who's came on. I think she works for TalkSport. She put it absolutely brilliantly. You're no Pep Guardiola. Answer the questions and do exactly that, Steve Clarke, mate. That is your duty as a manager. You're going to get asked questions, and you know what? I actually think the journalists, the media, have been too nice to Steve Clarke. And I'm not going to sit here and say if I was in that position, I'd be asking him hard questions. But that's why I'm not in that position. I thought they should have hammered him a wee bit more. I think the questions were very nice at points, and I feel like at this point you've went through 3 tournaments and you've still not really got anything out of these players. Is it on the players or is it on you? That would be one of the questions I feel like should have been asked. Now I get it, the journalists, they don't want to be disrespecting Steve Clarke. I completely understand that kind of route, but I just thought the way that Steve Clarke went about his interviews, especially against Morocco as well, just fought massively. I think Steve Clarke's he's brilliant when he wins. His interviews are classy when he wins, but classless when he loses. And I think that's when I just think it's massively disrespectful to any kind of journalist. And you know what? And I might be taking this a wee bit too far, but I just think it puts down journalists when they're actually, for example, like someone who's want to go into that position and want to go and do that, seeing that a manager just kind of disregard their question, being like, "Oh, I'm not bothered to go and talk to you now. I want to go speak to my players." Completely understand they want to go and speak to his players. Absolutely, like any manager does after a loss, they want to speak to their players. But every other manager has to go and speak to the media. It's a duty. You have to take it nowadays. Aye, maybe 40, 50 years ago you didn't, Steve Clarke, but you do now. It's a duty. As a manager, that's what you have to do. You suck it up and you get on with it. Exactly that. And once again, he's not covered himself with very much glory. I think I like Steve Clarke. At times I do. But when he does stuff, stupid stuff like this, it's really, really hard to like him when these kind of things come out. And especially when, look, fair enough if he was, like, I wouldn't say fair enough if he was disregarding journalists and media and that. If he was still doing this when we were winning, I would still be like, right, mate, come on, we've won. Be a wee bit, cheer up a wee bit. But he's doing this when we've lost. Not only that, and then just been furious towards the media and stuff like that. And also another thing is the fans want to hear from you. The fans have spent upwards of thousands of pounds to go and watch the national team. They want to hear what you think of that performance. They didn't want to hear what the pundits in boxes ages away want to say. They don't want to hear their thoughts and feelings. They want to hear from the Scotland manager. They want to hear from the men's Scotland manager. That's who they want to hear from. Not Stephen Naismith, not any other coaching staff. They want to hear from the Scotland manager. And I just feel like, just come out, say a couple of words to the fans, and then get on with your job. Get on with it, speaking to the players. It doesn't. Interviews aren't long. They're no long at all, especially they ones. They're maybe upwards of 2 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes. Aye, maybe there's a few things before prepping, you getting a wee bit of mics on, maybe the interviewer's asking, telling you the questions he's going to ask. I don't know. I've not really got into that situation yet, so I don't really know too much. But it's no hard. It's no really that tough on you either. You're taking 3 or 4 minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes out of your time to go and answer a couple of questions to the media. I just feel like it's absolutely baffling how Steve Clarke handled the situation. And look, there's still a chance. There's still hope. We're 8th place, and we're still, if it was the end right now, we'd obviously be going through against, I don't know who we'd be going against. But it's hard. It's genuinely just frustrating to talk about this right now. I've just given it a day because I just thought if I came on here the night that we'd lost, I also was pretty bluttered, but none of the point. I probably wouldn't have done that bluttered, but wouldn't even be able to turn the mic on or anything. But I just think I had to give it a day because I was so frustrated by how we played. It's just annoying. It's just really, really annoying to see how badly we've done in our tournament. But let's hope, Scotland fans, that's the only thing we can really do right now. Yeah, not really got much else to say. Scotland fans, let me know what's going on, but yeah, subscribe to the channel and stuff like that. But thank you for watching if you have stayed this far. But as always, see it.